Maybe I won't. Do I have that? I can might even get one.
You can go mine.
Here we go. First item is, notice that the meeting was properly posted on March 21st. First item is approval of the minutes of 1/12/2023.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Next item is discussion and possible action regarding Oklahoma County Court Services Bureau monthly statistics. You're up, Grant.
Okay, January, we'll look at first. Just go over a few things while you're looking at the sheet. So without conditions, pre-trial release without conditions, 71 qualified with 61 approved.
Show us what we're looking for.
Oh, it should be the next page, January. Sorry,
I don't have.
I don't think it was an attachment, right?
To
it
what?
should have been me.
Attached to what?
The
Oh, we can
agendas.
open it up here.
January.
January, yeah, please. There we go.
And we can share.
Thank you.
So for pretrial release without conditions, 71 were qualified with 61 approved, 360 were supervised. Pretrial release with conditions, 44 were presented with 32 approved, 220 supervised. And I can answer any questions for that month if you got any.
Anybody have any questions?
And then we'll go to February.
Can you put the next one up on the board?
Yeah,
I'm trying.
I hate this.
Do I have right in? You'll see it.
I like paper
Right
stuff.
here.
Yeah.
Here, sir.
okay, so February pretrial release without conditions, 43 with 38 approved. We have 355 supervised. With conditions, 38 presented with 26 approved, 216 supervised. And same thing, I can answer any questions if you have any.
I do have a question. What does it mean presented or
So,
sent by judge?
so actual, like when we do the workup and we do the background, the interview, the packet, everything in place, and we actually deliver it to the judge for them to review to make a decision on their pretrial release, that's presented. And then there are instances where, for example, there could be an exclusionary charge, which we wouldn't present because it's exclusionary, but they can still send them to us for supervision. So they would release them and send them to us.
Pardon my ignorance, but how does the person get to you to work up that report to present?
So you mean the defendant in custody?
Yes.
So we, pretty much on any given day, we start at 5 o'clock in the morning and our staff comes in and they're able to, we call it print the list, but it's anybody in jail track or booked into county jail within any period of time we want. And then we have that list of every single person and then the process starts.
Is it based on charges?
What's everybody? So everybody booked in, we print and then we start the process, meaning the first thing we'll look at is like exclusionary charges. So if it's an exclusionary charge, then we wouldn't continue the process. But everybody else, we do the background on
The priors, their prior
all that.
convictions?
Yes.
Do you go off at NCIC?
Yes.
Or you do? Okay,
Yep. So that's February.
thanks.
Any other questions? Thanks, Grant.
You bet.
Oh, well,
You're not getting rid of me. You're not
we
getting
have
rid of
the
me yet.
presentation.
So the next one, the judge's report. Is that what we're on?
Yes.
Okay, so that's just the same stats that you just saw from the other sheet, and it just breaks it down on each one. So January is 44 with 32 approved, and February was 38 with 26 approved, and those are the conditional bonds.
Now that I know how the process happens a little bit, are you taking them to the judges that don't have any on there, or do you only take them to certain judges?
So that was one thing we had talked about earlier. You can see January is pretty spread out, February not so much, but we do the best we can to spread them out to as many judges as possible to not overload any particular judges. But at the same time, if we get in a situation where we drop off paperwork and it sits, instead of it sitting there, if maybe there's something going on and they can't get some paperwork to sign it, instead of that person sitting in custody for an additional day or 2 days or 3 days, we'll pick it up and take it to a judge who's available.
Oh, so they're not going straight to an assigned judge, they're just going to any judge that you pick?
Some of them don't have cases assigned
Right.
yet,
Right.
so they don't have assigned judges.
So you pick the judge you go to get it signed. Okay. Thank you.
That's all I got.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
And then discussion of possible action to receive a presentation regarding the collaboration between court services and social services. You
That's-
presented that last month.
Yeah, that can be
Is
taken
it
off.
working well?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that can
Yes.
be taken off.
Somebody in there still on a regular basis?
Yes.
Great. Citizens' participation, any citizen wishing to participate may do so at this time. Board comments? Anybody have any comments? New business?
No.
No new business. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Which one?
I have
I'll be, and then you can do the picture. The chair will call the meeting of the Mental Health Court Board into session.
We're good without me on all these, right,
What?
Rob? You're good without me on these?
You're out of here.
Okay, just making sure.
Thank you,
Thank
Ben.
you.
You guys have a great day.
You too.
Well, maybe, yeah, I can call it, because all we need is four. First item of business is the fact that notice of the meeting was properly posted on March 21st. Now, item number one, discussion of possible action to approve the minutes of January 12th, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Bob.
motion carries unanimously. Item number two is discussion of possible action regarding the report on current AWOLs. Jenny?
Right, so we currently have 92 AWOL since 2008. Now 42 of those have been AWOL since 2020. So in 2020, 3 went AWOL, 2021, 6 went AWOL, and so in 2022, 33 went AWOL. So we have 42 AWOL in those years.
Is there a way you can identify AWOLs from the first 5 years of the program? The names of the people?
I can try.
Can you look and see if you can do that? Because we probably ought to at least run a deal as to what happened to these people. Because one is, if they're getting treatment somewhere and they just haven't been rearrested, do we really want to have a warrant out for that person and whatever? And, I mean, the district attorney would still have the option to do what he or she wanted to do, or be it, whether it be Kelly or Jeff or Vicky, but I think that would be real helpful. Yeah, just look and see if you get the names. And,
Okay.
maybe we can figure out where they, is there a mental health database you can access?
So I can reach out to Nancy Warren with the Department of Mental Health to see if she can give me the names of those people.
Okay, I think that'd be really helpful.
Okay, I will work on that.
Do you mean from inception, so 5 years, so like
Yeah.
2004 to 2009?
Now let's do,
2008 is when I have.
she doesn't have
started
data
in
prior to
04.
04 though.
Yeah.
Well, if you could get them from 04, that'd be helpful too.
So 04, how,
How about 04 to 15?
okay, let me see what I can do.
Great, thank you.
Of course.
And then for whatever reason they list me, then I'll let you do the second report. Oh, I'm sorry, did anybody else have any question on the AWOL? Okay, Chair, I'll entertain a motion to accept the AWOL report.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Okay, this one is discussion possible action regarding report for the mental health court. Jenny?
So we put in 23 participants since January. We have a total of 373 in the program, but 265 are active. We have 26 participants who are in our active count, but they're in custody. 17 are those. are in Oklahoma County, which has dropped tremendously since the last report. And then we have 9 in other counties. We have 23 participants in inpatient treatment, so that's very good. We have 16 in DOC for IRF, 11 of those are male and 5 of those are female.
So when we count the participants in the program, 265 are active.
Correct.
The active include those in custody, is that correct?
Correct. Those in custody and in inpatient.
Okay, they don't include the DOC section.
No, because we cannot put the DOC or AWOL in our active count for Department of Mental Health.
Okay, and the rest are in AWOL status
Yes.
dating back to
2008.
2008.
Yes.
Okay, so our numbers, if we disregarded the AWOL people, our numbers would actually be 281 and not 373, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
If we didn't add the AWOL but we kept in the DOC.
Okay.
Because they're still in our program. They haven't been revoked, but we just can't.
Right, clearly the 16 DOC sanctioned people that are there for 6 months need to be included in participants.
Right.
As far as an AWOL, that's, maybe you could justify the 2022 keeping in, calling them participants.
Right.
But prior to 2022, so, because I don't want to be misleading legislators who are thinking about giving us more money, saying we have 373 participants in a mental health program. I mean, obviously, I think 2021 and 22, those are legitimate figures that should be kept, because we're going to try to especially if they haven't committed new crimes, we would try to let them back into the program with some kind of sanction, probably, on a mental health, who doesn't commit a new crime, who goes AWOL.
There's a 2-year sort of policy with the ADA that's handling that. That if they come back within 2 years, they're considered to be allowed to maybe come back in if they haven't committed new crimes. But more than 2 years, and the policy for that ADA handling that docket is that then they'll be considered to be a revocation.
Okay.
The judge decides.
Okay. But that helps getting an accurate count, I think, of the overall people that the court is dealing with on a daily basis. Very helpful. Any other questions regarding the mental health court report? Chair will entertain a motion to accept that report.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Next item is the financials, which is given to you. It's underneath the drug court financials. Everybody should have a copy. The financials on mental health court are in 2 programs. The first one is the Munis funds. Well, the first one is showing today is the 1284, where we pay everything out of. 1284 consists of paying the current drug court provider for drug testing. The current provider for drug testing. We additionally get money from the Department of Mental Health, which is shown on the deposits for the year. There was a one-time deal that they gave us of $11,732.75 when I went begging to the department saying we needed some more money, and they were able to give it to us. Additionally, as you can see, we also pay COPTA. We buy bus passes. We usually buy them at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. So that's the financials. Jenny, I do have a question
Yes, sir.
on the financials. if there's somebody, do we ever place somebody inpatient in mental health court? In other words, do we ever take them to an inpatient facility?
We can, but I mean, I think treatment typically finds, transportation for them.
Okay, so they're doing the treatment
But
is, unlike the drug court, they're doing the transportation for us.
there's sometimes that treatment can't do the transportation and family is not trusted
Okay,
to transport.
and
as
then
well.
we do
Then
somebody
we
else,
would have to.
but currently we, just this past fiscal year, we just haven't done that, okay? That saves a lot of money though.
Sergeant Miller
What, yeah,
from the jail does most of the mental health court transports.
right.
Okay. Any questions regarding, oh, I'm sorry, that's the first financial. The other financial on that is the money that we transfer in for operations, cause that's paid out of the separate munis account. And, it shows basically that includes, office supplies, some professional services, and copier expenses. And then we had plenty of furniture this year. Okay, great. That shows what we have left, and my secretary periodically transfers the money in. Any questions regarding the budget report? Chair will entertain a motion to accept the report.
So moved.
I'll second.
Second, motion made and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Next item is discussion and possible action regarding the use of necessary office space for drug court, mental health court, veterans treatment court. How do you like your new space, Jenny?
I love it. I love it. And
Love it.
I do. I love it. It works out great for, I think, both drug court and mental health court.
Great.
We have to fight over the printer, but I mean, that's okay. It's all right.
Please let the commissioners know that we all appreciate that very much. And I know they do. They've got a facility that's clean and
Updated,
updated.
spacious,
Yeah.
with
Well,
windows.
it's spacious, more spacious than where it
spacious.
was before.
Yeah.
Is the best way to put that, so. Thank you. Next item, are you guys using the cloud-based software and tracking?
Yes, the Connexus, yes, we do. We use that for drug testing text messages, and then we also communicate text message with our participants as well through that.
And that works pretty well?
Yes, sir, it does.
Great. Anybody have any questions regarding that?
No.
Right. Next item is creating a website and tracking system for diversion programs. And did we ever ask the, I know that somebody asked Erin, and she said we couldn't do it. I wonder if we should ask Vicky again on that.
For the.
Is there a website? Would it be helpful to have a website?
I believe it would
I think it would be
be
so
beneficial,
helpful
yeah.
for the community as a whole to be able to just look and see what mental health court means, just without having to have an attorney explain it, which the attorneys don't really know. The website, not all of them do, I should say. The website would be excellent.
And that would also probably help with the multiple calls I get daily, weekly, asking what our program is about as well.
It would be, and if the district attorney says we could create one, even if we had to pay some money, it might be worth it. And we could ask Oklahoma County to put it on their website. Kelly, next time we meet with the district attorney on it, we will bring that up to them about why we can't do that since it's a county program. And it is a pretrial program in the sense that they don't enter or they're not sentenced at the time they're put in any of these programs. There should be no reason why the district attorney's office would call this a state function any more than any of our other programs that are on that deal. So I will specifically ask her.
I will too.
whatever, okay.
And can that be a website that covers all the diversion programs? They're all pre-trial except community sentencing. I mean, they're all pre-sentencing except community
Right.
sentencing. So I'd just like to expand that to include all of them. There are 8.
Okay, I think, I mean, we could have remerge on it. Yeah, I mean, and it really is a real plus for Oklahoma County to somebody who's sitting there moving to Oklahoma City, says, look at all these programs that they have available. And you know, it's crazy not to have it
Yeah.
in 2022.
Yeah.
I guess my argument is if 2023, I'm a couple months behind. I guess my argument is if we could put the district attorney on the county's website when they're a state employee, why can't we put these quote unquote county programs on? No, I'll ask for that too, because you guys are state employees.
Right.
Okay,
That'd be great.
we'll keep that on the agenda for future, and we'll try to report back on the next one. And we currently are contracting with the Diversion Hub, and as long as we have money, we'll continue to contract with either Diversion Hub or somebody to help with management of mental health court participants. Next item is citizen participation. No citizens wishing to participate. Board comments. Do any of the board members have comments?
No comment.
Move to adjourn.
I think we missed one about diversion hub. Did you talk about that?
No, I did that. That's the
Number 8.
website and tracking system
Okay.
for all diversion programs.
It's right after that. Diversion hub.
Oh, to handle cases.
Oh, no, I just mentioned, we've got a full-time employee in there.
Okay.
But we're just gonna keep it because we don't know, what our funding's like. As long as we have funding, we're gonna hopefully keep somebody, whether it's the diversion hub or somebody else doing
I'll second the
it.
motion.
Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved and seconded.
I'm sorry.
I got
Mike, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay, Chair will call the meeting of the, Chair will call a meeting of the drug court, committee in session. Notice of meeting was properly posted March 21st, 2023. First item of business is discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of January 12th, 2023.
I'll move to approve minutes.
See, he's gonna second that. I was gonna say, we did have a little bit of a change of chairman, but we have decided we're gonna leave it how the minutes show, but I don't remember the minutes to be how they're showing. But I will,
Seconded, I wasn't here. I meant could, but I.
yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So I was here, but they were different from what they are, but I will agree that we'll approve them. So I would second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Discussion and possible action regarding a partnership with Diversion Hub to hire a case manager for drug court. That partnership has been executed. I've signed documents, and we now have a case manager working in drug court, and we're paying the Diversion Hub, I believe it's right at $50,000, maybe a couple pennies more, and that's substantially less than if we had to employ the individual, because we don't have the ability to pay county benefits. We bankrupt the program real quick. And Diversion Hub does have benefits for those employees. It's just a different schedule. Discussion and possible action regarding drug court statistical.
Good afternoon. The drug and DUI court report, statistical report, maybe with a few extra added things in there. Participants in the drug court program, right now it's an active count of 363. That is pretty low. And one reason is we're really just clean in one for everyone that graduates right now until we can get adjusted with our new 2-track system, and the new statutes that have been put in place as well. So we're hopeful to be up past 400 in maybe 3 or 4 months. Inactive participants, that we do not get any funding for this. Males serving a 6-month DOC sanction is 7. Females serving a 6-month DOC sanction is 3. Males at our First Step facility, which is a structured, basically a structured work therapy community. Where it's a 6-month community they go. It's kind of the step before they go to 6-month DOC. 3 there for the males, 1 for females. Participants at residential facilities, very low for us right now, and we have 3 males and 2 females. AWOL participants, this is only in the last 3 years, since January 1st, 2020. We have 45 AWOL participants.
Now, let me ask you this, since I was getting this, the 363, does that include the 45 AWOL participants, or is that separate?
It does not. If they're AWOL, they're not active, we do not receive
Okay,
funding.
perfect.
Graduation rate, we stood at 83% at a SAG number for quite a while, and we're probably going to see that drop a little bit because we are truly accepting in the highest risk, highest need participants into our program. And so we have to understand that some of these participants are just not going to make it, but we are still at 81%, which is much better than the state grad rate. Number of graduates in 2023 is obviously carried over from preceding years, is 159. Same with revocations, carrying over from preceding years, we've had 58%. These are some of the impact statistics, how we're impacting our community. Percent unemployed at entry is 38%, but at graduation, it's only 1.2%. Income from employment at entry is almost $1,300, and at graduation, $2,134.
Because when you, and I know you don't do this, but DMH does that, but when they consider income from employment at graduation, do they take into account the ones who are not employed, or do they not? Do you know?
If they're unemployed, yeah, at the end of when they graduate, I have to do a lot of data entry. Madison does data entry, Christina does data entry, and if they're unemployed, we just put 0. Or if they are getting unemployment pensions or anything like that, there is a spot for that as well.
Do you know if that pulls the average salary down, or if that is just stricken because they're not employed?
As far as I was told, it pulls it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a bad statistic. You can tell the department I need to, because that's wrong. The salary should be based on those that are employed, not those that aren't employed.
To separate those out.
Yeah, because as a practical matter, I mean, I have some concerns about the fact that, I mean, 21, 34, 26 a month, our graduates aren't getting really good jobs. If that's the case, especially with the increases in rate of pay in Oklahoma, I mean, maybe what we need to be looking at is why the providers who are required to do case management in their programs aren't finding these people better jobs. We can brag all we want about the success of the program, but if you got people making on average $2,300 a month, and especially if they're supporting families, they'll be back either drinking or using drugs within 4 years. Mark my words. So
That's a great point, Mr. Rabbits, and we beat this down with our providers every quarterly meeting. Case management is almost more important, if not more important, than their therapeutic needs, especially for our drug court participants that have been homeless and incarcerated most of their life. They need to have all their survival needs met first, so we're working on that.
well, I hope you have better luck than what I have for 10 years. Because I used to beat down Terry White on a regular basis, and she told me how great all the, how much services they were providing. Renee, do you have a question?
One question, when you say the number of graduates and then you say carried over from preceding years, what exactly does that mean?
I just didn't want it to be confusing because it says number of graduates in 2023. I wanted to be understood that they pled into the program before some of those pled into the program before 2023. They started it.
But in the first 3 months of 2023, we had 159 graduate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You had 120, you had 159 people graduate in 2023? Today's March 1st,
Yeah, I might have miscounted that then. I apologize.
March, whatever, I'm always a month.
That does seem really high.
Maybe just revisit it for next
Yeah,
time.
after it is. I apologize.
I bet you most of them were for,
It might have been 2022 and 2023,
I bet you.
since it's only 2 months into 23. Or maybe you went like March 15, 22 to March 2023. That would be 159.
Okay. I'm not sure what I did, but what I did is wrong.
It's about a 1 year mark, don't you think?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
about what we get in 1 year.
Yeah,
Graduates.
yeah. When I was doing the Excel spreadsheet, who knows what I was doing at that time, so I apologize. But that
Good
is,
question.
that is definitely high.
Any other questions?
Move to accept the report.
You had a second page.
I'm sorry,
We had a second page to go.
are there any questions? Did anybody want to ask any other questions?
Can I just point out, Judge, I
Oh, I'm sorry.
spelled it correctly?
You have we do have a second, David, did you want to talk about anything on the second page regarding,
This is just kind of the meat and potatoes of what's going on. We have been introduced to Margaret Morris, who is retired now. She is volunteering her time to help us with funding with private donors. She has got about a 30-year history with helping state legislation and funding and lobbying, and also was an executive director of her own nonprofits. So she's very experienced in this. We've purchased 7 Scram devices with a $30,000 technology grant from the Department of Mental Health. And we introduced the Reconnect app with this. This was an explicit item on this grant, so we went ahead and took advantage of it. It's not that we sought out the Reconnect app. It was an explicit item. The money was there, so we don't want it to sit there. We're going to use it and try and strengthen our program. And as far as the 2 tracks now, DUI and drug court have been separated. So Judge Oaks presides over DUI courts Monday at 3 p.m. And why, again, is to make sure that we ensure that everybody's getting their needs met. These 2 populations are apples and oranges. And if you go to a doctor, you're not going to treat everybody the same way, so we can't treat our participants the same way as well.
How many of these 359 or 363 drug court participants, how many of those are actually DUI court?
That's 160.
So there's 200 in drug court and 163 in DUI court.
There is 160, and so the others, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
But we only moved over phase 1 and aftercare participants at our 2 DUI providers to Judge Oaks.
So how
To
many is on
start.
Judge Oaks' docket?
20.
20 are on Judge Oaks' docket Monday afternoon.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
rest remain, and why did we do that?
so Judge Stoner's still doing some DUI cases?
Yes.
She's doing all but 20.
Our participants really get to know and build a strong attachment with the judge, and so we thought it would be really disruptive mid-program to move every DUI court participant. So we took the ones that had just started and the ones that are almost done, who don't have to come to court very much.
So the ones that are almost done, the ones that are just started are going to Judge Oaks, all the other ones are kept by Judge Stoner.
And they're gonna finish there, the new DUIs are going in.
So ultimately, within hopefully 2 years, Judge Oaks will have all the DUIs, Judge Stoner will have all the drug court cases, and assuming there's no increase in caseloads, Judge Stoner will have about 200 participants in drug court, and the rest will be in DUI court.
Yes, he would like to increase the size of drug court to 300.
So you're gonna put 160 with Judge Oaks. I'm guessing that you anticipate then more weekly dockets than this, the Monday afternoon dockets when that occurs.
It will have to be, but it's gonna take a year at least to get to that number.
Best practices would be that a 40-hour judge position would have 250 participants in the whole week. We've been way outside of best practices for a while now.
Sure. And of course, Judge Oaks also has the misdemeanor docket on Wednesdays and Thursdays. It's quite large. So I'm just trying, as court administrator, I'm just trying to figure out my judicial resources and what we need to be doing, so.
And also it needs to be understood that if someone does plea in with a DUI case, if they are deemed high risk, high need, especially high risk criminogenic risk, they will go to Judge Stoner. He's gonna take all the very high risk participants. So it's not just, it's the majority of DUI participants are gonna go over that, but they need to be moderate to low risk to be with Judge Oaks.
And we can explain why. Best practices, evidence-based best practices is that when you have a person who's high criminogenic risk, that person stays with like people.
Right.
So that group is gonna be called drug court. We're calling it DUI court, but it's a little bit of a misnomer because it's really for people with lower criminogenic risk but highest substance use disorder. And the criminogenic risk is the risk of reoffending or not being able to complete probation, but what's twisted about that a little bit is our screening tool doesn't assess DUIs properly for the score of high criminogenic risk, because we can have people that are about to commit another DUI and they've had 5 in the last 5 years. They should be high criminogenic risk for DUI, but the scoring mechanism is high criminogenic risk for other factors, like if they take pride in criminal behavior, if their parents were in prison, there's a lot of criminogenic factors that go into the mindset, and then the DUI, what we're putting in DUI court is the people who don't have that mindset, but because of their substance use disorder, they're high risk of doing this serious crime again. Does that make sense?
It does actually, yeah. Perfect.
I think it would be very helpful if, we break down the number of cases that are in Judge Oaks and the number of cases that are in Judge Stoner, especially for the courts as they decide whether we should be expanding the number of judges in the court, or at least expanding the number of hours for each one of the judges in the court. So if you could kind of rework the statistical stuff for next meeting, I think it'd be helpful to all of you. Do you all agree with that?
Yes.
And I have one more question. The decision to have the DUI court on Monday afternoon, how was that decision made? Versus any other day?
I think
It sounded like a good idea? Okay.
I
That's
wonder if Judge Oaks picked it.
I think it was first gonna be Judge Hudson before, when
Right.
Judge Hudson had the misdemeanor docket.
Okay, I'm just curious because it just affects other things, as you might understand with the courthouse of 35 judges. Anything affects everything, because there's so many moving parts, so I was just curious about that.
It does have to, we only have, the rest of the team is limited, and so we can't have too many concurrent dockets
Okay.
that would affect, like, the DA and PD can't be in 2 courtrooms. I wish I could.
That's just crazy. Okay, no, I'm just trying to make sure I have a handle on all that, so.
I move to accept the report as given.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. David, how do you like the space?
Oh, it's wonderful, but I want Jenny's office.
Well, we've been here 11 years.
Next item is discussion of possible action regarding the future disposition of closed drug court files. David, on closed files, if you had an opportunity to go over to Rick Warren's offices on the cases that are over his warehouse?
Oh, yeah, the ones over 7 years old?
Yeah,
Yes, they've all been shredded by the meadows.
great.
Thank you, sir.
Next item. Did we get the bill yet on that?
We did. Donna gave me the invoice this week and it got
Okay.
signed and turned back in.
Now, well, Commissioner Mond offered that they didn't have a powerful enough, shredder, so.
Oh,
Discussion and possible action regarding report on current AWOLs. I think that's already in there in the report, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And next item is discussion and possible action regarding drug court budget report. Again, it's similar to the, we have a munis account, which we put salaries, benefits, and health that we have to reimburse the county for, and then the maintenance and operations, we deposit money, hopefully only once a year to try to, and then we pull off of that. Everything else is in the user fee account, other than the donations. The user fee account specifically shows you every dollar that is spent on the programs and what the program and what the money is spent for. And the money that we get on a regular basis from the Department of Mental Health and from the court clerk, because we appreciate the fact that they collect our money and timely get it to us.
I say, it looks like Rick Warren's really supportive of your program.
And and we appreciate everything Mr. Warren does, but we can't give him credit for giving us all that money out of his own pocket.
Darn it.
But if he'd like to, we would take that in the drug court contribution fund.
Exactly.
but we would like to note that on the donation page, which is a separate page here, we do have a $45,000 and $24,000 from.
You know, that was Sue Ann Arnell donated that
Yep.
for drug testing and for
One is for
The-
evaluation,
the evaluation.
and she's about to look at giving us a grant for some other things that we need right now.
Who writes the grants?
We have different grant writers. Right now Madison's doing it. For the Arnold grant, we had, who did the one for, we don't have any other grants right now.
We are also applying for a Federal Bureau of Justice Assistance grant and partnering with the Diversion Hub, who has a grant writer on their staff.
Very good.
And as you can see, we spent out of our accounts. Actually, I thought I wrote it down. We've already spent $73,015 to compliance resource, which is currently the drug court provider. That is kind of like our dollars. Is that right? We'll spend over $100,000 a year.
A year.
Hopefully we get money, that mental health court's a little higher. Are you using, and having any issues, Chair will put a motion to accept the budget report, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The last item is discussion and possible action regarding implementation of cloud-based software. Is that working? Or
It's a great communication device. Yeah, we use it for mass texting platform.
great. Anybody have any questions regarding that?
No.
Citizen participation? Board comments? New business? Chair will entertain a motion
Move to adjourn.
Chair will second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's my
One
favorite
more,
motion.
Mike. The chair will call,
Just one more.
veteran
Save
treatment
The best for last.
advisory board into session. Notice the meeting was properly posted March 21st. First item is discussion and possible action regarding minutes of January 12th.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Discussion regarding program status report from Kyle, from coordinator. Kyle.
Good afternoon, everyone. Since the previous report, we have put in 5 veterans into our court. We have 47 that are active right now. We have 1 that's in the first step, 1 on 6-month DOC, 1's in custody in Oklahoma County Jail paying new charges, and 1's in federal custody. We continue to have a very low AWOL rate. We have 1 that's AWOL right now. Hopefully soon to be 0. And we've graduated 3 since the last report. We unfortunately, since the last report, have had our first conviction in our program, but since July of 2020, for this to be our first one is amazing. So we're really sticking out with them, trying to fight for them as long as they're willing to fight for themselves. That's it.
Any questions?
I have a question. How's it going with working with Connexus to get that as a docket?
So I've been sent the proof of what they do is they create a test court first for any changes, because whenever they implement changes on our staffing report, it kind of floods out to the other programs as well. So they have a test court. They sent me the proof already. It looks great. They are having problems moving what they've created in our test court over into ours because it's bumping up against some of their other programming. I had a meeting yesterday with them that got pushed back, so I was hoping to have a more current update for you guys, but schedule.
Why is it so much difficult if they already have the drug court, mental health court on Connexus? Couldn't they have just?
I'm asking for something more
Okay.
than what we're currently doing. We already have the messaging, and that works out well. We send out notification support, everything like that, just like the other programs. I'm wanting to get a little bit more out of this program. I believe that there's some functionality that we haven't used yet, and I'm really asking them to dig a little deeper since we're paying them. So,
We're in need of a docket system. I think Kyle's working hard with Connexus to figure out how to make that happen, and we're all looking at him because if he can get that done, then we're hoping it can be used on the other courts and not be so expensive, because most of the time they're very, very expensive. And if Connexus can get that figured out with us, they are wildly less expensive than the alternatives.
I think it's a good idea.
it just takes a little bit of time to kind of get the language across of what we're needing, because they're speaking to programmers who are speaking a totally different language than what I'm speaking, obviously, so.
Great.
Yeah, thank you.
And then, discussion and possible action regarding
I move to accept the report.
creating
Second.
account and sub-accounts
All
as
those in
county
favor?
to hold funds
Motion
designated
passes.
for the program.
Unanimously.
And as you can see, we have accounts that are entitled, Veterans Court, Treatment Court Admin Fund 6045, and we currently have $52,538.14. And we get approximately $24,000, almost 25,000 every 2 months from the department. And I think that the grant will go at least until October, November.
What were you asking? I didn't understand. To do?
That wasn't asking to do anything.
Creating a
Providing an
sub-account.
update.
Yeah, we've already created the sub-account.
Okay.
We've created an
Just have to
account
fund,
system.
yeah.
So that we don't have to create anything more. Material, well, it's
Move
not really,
to accept
I don't
your
think we
budget
have to do
report.
it. If there's any way, if we could change, instead of discussion and possible action, regarding accounts and sub-accounts, if we could instead put down discussion and possible action regarding budget report for Veterans Treatment Court. It's probably closer to what we need to do
Can we change that
for
today?
next month.
Oh, for next month, yeah. Yes.
And then I think Kyle, in his report, talked to us about the website and tracking system. So the chair, for purposes of this meeting, will just strike that item. Citizen participation, board comments, new
Motion
business.
adjourned.
Motion made to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Did we accept the report? I guess we did.
Yeah,
We sort of did.
we voted while he was talking. He didn't even hear us vote.
Okay,
You voted for it. We
Okay.
voted unanimously.
okay. That was, you know.
Thank you.